All right, we're going to talk about building a workflow campaign with AI agents and Pitchit today. Now, there's three types of campaigns. So the first one's broadcast, and that is an outbound campaign that is triggered by a file. So you give us a file, the AI agent contacts everyone in that file as quickly as humanly possible. Workflow is trigger based on an integration with something, and it's more of a real-time outbound. So if someone filled out a form on your site is integrated with Pitchit to tell us that we need to call that person right now, but it's just that one person. It's not 10,000 people from a file, right? Doesn't mean you couldn't do 10,000 people. It just means that you would need 10,000 form fills all on the same day, and each of those 10,000 people would start their journey in real time as soon as that form is filled out. So broadcast, it's outbound, but based on a file. You load them all up. We contact them all at once. Workflow, it's based on a trigger in some other system of record that tells us when to contact them. Inbound is effectively an AI IVR, so it's not outbound at all. Someone calls the number, and that's how they enter these campaigns. Now, today we're going to talk about workflow campaigns. First and foremost, you need to have created an AI agent. I have another video to show how you can create an agent, and workflow campaigns work best with the agent type lead qualification. So we're going to get into it. First off, I'm going to do a quick demo workflow campaign name, workflow campaign demo. I'm going to paste in a nice standard pitch. So I've got some here. This is a nice one, nice little pitch. And then what this is, by the way, is how will we greet that person when your system of record tells us we need to contact them? What's the first thing we'll say? That's what this section's for. So you put your pitch in. Then it asks you to select an AI agent. So again, you will have had to have completed that before you go building your first workflow campaign. Workflows and broadcast campaigns work better with lead qualification agents. Inbound campaigns work better with IVR agents. So just make sure you pick a lead qualification agent. You can only select ones. You can't like multi-select. And so if you have like 6 or 7 products that need to be included in the AI agent, just make sure you build them all into one and select that one. Again, that video will explain in much greater detail how to build an agent. For the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to pick one and move on. Now, in Workflow, we offer a lot of ways that you can send us data. Zapier is our preferred iPaaS provider. And so if you have a Zap, you can just create a trigger in Zap, and then the action can be to add that person to a workflow. And then it will map the contact information to the workflow and pitch it, and you're good to go. You don't have to do Zapier, though, if you don't want. We also have in our, I'm going to leave this campaign real quick. If you click your name, if you go to integrations, we have your Zapier API key, but we also have a public API key that you can use. And so your engineers could actually engineer an integration with us through API to send us leads. And so Zapier is one way, but API is another. So you have to pick one of those two. Now in this step, you can create your Zap in the step, or you can go to Zapier and create the integration. We do have a nice little iframe that embeds Zapier inside of Pitchit, but you don't have to use this. I'm going to skip it. I personally prefer to build in Zapier because it's a bigger screen. And so if you're the same way, you would basically just skip the step and go on to the next one. Just know that you can launch this campaign in Pitchit, but until you hook it up to something in Zapier or through the API, through one of those two methods, there won't be any leads that make their way to the workflow. So it'll just be sitting listening for leads, but you'll have to go and finish the integration with Zapier or the API before it will actually contact anyone. And I'll get into that in a bit when we finish. So in this step, we're picking which channel the AI agent is allowed to contact this person on. And so think of it this way. If someone, for example, classic use case, someone fills out a form on your site, right? The AI agent will first and foremost call first every time. So if voice is selected, this will be the primary channel that we try to contact them first. And only if they don't answer do we SMS, WhatsApp, and email message them, trying to reschedule or talk to them offline. And so if you don't have this selected, then they'll receive all 3 of these at once. If you do have this selected, it will stagger it. Voice will go first. If they don't answer, they'll then receive all 3 in an attempt to try to find a better, quicker channel to reach the consumer. And you don't have to pick them all. You can pick 1, you can pick 2, you can pick 3, doesn't matter. So just choose the channels you want the AI agent to have access to. If these channels are grayed out and you cannot select them, that just means you need to go back to your name and click connections, and you need to integrate Gmail or multiple Gmails, Outlook or multiple Outlook, SMS or multiple SMS. Again, we have InfoBip and Twilio. You can bring your own, or you can have us provision one for you. And then voice, if you haven't activated it yet, it'll have a button here that says activate. I've already activated mine, and so it's giving me my number. But like I said, if you have these channels grayed out in this step and you cannot select which channel, that just means you need to add the channel in that other view. So go add the channel, come back. It should let you check the box. The next feature we call God mode. In God mode, it lets you give any channel that anyone on your team across the whole organization has integrated. You can pick any of those and give it to the AI agent. So for example, all of these emails have been synced by all of our team members, and I can give the AI agent my emails that I've synced, but any other team members' emails as well, and it will represent them in Outbound. The next step is calendar booking. So do you want this AI agent to paste a calendar booking link at the end of the greeting or not? If you choose not to, then in order to book a meeting, the recipient will have to reply to the AI agent and say, I want to book a meeting, and then it would actually allow it to book. But if you turn it on, it's going to paste a booking link right below this greeting. You don't need to do it twice. So don't say book a meeting here and then paste a link like a HubSpot link or something like that. Right? You don't need to do it twice, because what this would do is it would say book a meeting here, and then it would say book a meeting here, and one would be like your HubSpot or Calendly or Microsoft Teams link, and then the other one would be like a Pitchit hosted link, and you don't need both. So either bring your own link and turn off ours and paste yours in here, right? x.com/booking, or delete yours. Don't put anything, just put your greeting, and then turn ours on, and we'll append it right below here as a booking option. I do think you should allow booking as an option, because some people do like to just self-book instead of going through the, call me at 9. What's your time zone? 9 o'clock. I'm not free. Call me at 9:30. That's kind of annoying, and so it does help to have this option on for people who don't want to go through that talk track. Also give us like a subject line for the email. I'm just going to put something in here, dummy. Next part is the signature line. So we are going to default pull whatever address you created, the super admin created the company account under, but you can change that for each campaign if you have like a DBA or a different address or like a different company's logo you're representing, maybe for white label purposes. We do let you change the signature. Next up is WhatsApp. So you can bring a WhatsApp account from InfoBip or Twilio. Both of them require, in fact, Meta in general requires pre-approved templates. So you can't just put whatever you want into WhatsApp to start a conversation. It has to be approved by WhatsApp, and they'll give you an SID. And so this is basically where you put the SID. It's just a whole bunch of numbers pasted in, and then make sure you have a perfectly copy-pasted exact match template that matches this ID right here. Don't change anything about it. And that's also why snippets aren't a good idea, because a snippet will pull in first name, last name, and company name. And that would almost guarantee that the copy's different every time. And WhatsApp doesn't like that stuff. So in general, if you're doing WhatsApp, don't use snippets. Just make sure you copy paste the template that was pre-approved by WhatsApp and then paste the template ID, and it should work. Calendar booking link works the same. We'll append it right here. So the booking link will go right there if you turn it on. SMS, this one is unique because the character count is really short. So email and WhatsApp, it's like almost unlimited character limit. I mean, thousands of characters. But SMS, you have to fit it into just 300. And so booking links, by the way, will be above and beyond the 300. So you can do all 300 and add a booking link. That's fine. But long story short, just make sure your message is very concise in SMS. You can and should use snippets though. So you can like pile in first name here if you'd like. And I do recommend doing that, unlike WhatsApp, because there's no like template approval process. We also do have God mode for SMS. So like whatever SMS account you want to use, you just select it from here and it will rip it out of their user account and dedicate it to this campaign. That can be really helpful if you're like tracking phone numbers with marketing and sales data, and so you want it to be dedicated every time. So it is helpful to choose one. And that's what this down menu allows you to do. Final bit is voice. Voice is totally unique because there's no like calendar booking link. We just ask you, do you want the AI agent to allow an appointment to be booked? And so you toggle it on if you do, toggle it off if you don't. And then we also ask if you want us to transfer to a live human. You toggle it on if you do, toggle it off if you don't. You can toggle both booking and transfers on at the same time, but you can't turn them both off. You do need to pick one or the other or both, right? In this example, I'm doing both, and my pitch is, I'm going to kind of break it down. So the text-to-speech is really critical in voice. In the United States especially, where we have data privacy, you need to tell them you're recording the call. So this is a good snippet. Hi, first name, this is utility agent for Pitchit calling on a recorded line. Good. You're covered in all states with that line. I have a live agent waiting on the line to help you. Love that because it sets expectations that you're not a permanent AI agent, that your job is to just do a really quick thing and then get out of the way. And then the final bit, would you like to speak with them now or schedule a callback for later? This tees up either a transfer or a schedule appointment, and it prompts the user that they can do either. And so I've turned both of these on and prompted the user accordingly to drive one of those two. Now we have two options for transferring. You could do a PSTN transfer, like this would transfer to a cell phone number with a local area code. If you're in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, you do your +1 868 and then your very long number. If you want it to be like in the United States, an 800 TFN, here's your TFN, right? Or like I mentioned earlier, PSTN, just a local number. That's how it works, and it would just call forward, right? But some of you are on VoIP systems like Dialpad or Five9 or Genesis or Twilio or Telnix or whatever, right? And you might actually have like a SIP URI, which is basically like transferring the call to a URL instead of a phone number. And so this is where you would like paste in your SIP URI if you have one. In this example, I am just going to use my transfer number for a simple PSTN call forward. Moving on to the next step. This is where you tell us what operating schedule your call center or sales team is actually open to. And so and the reason we ask this is the AI agent is capable of talking to someone 24/7, but your team's not. So if we're booking meetings for your team or like transferring calls into your call center, we want to make sure you're actually open and able to take that call or take that meeting. So this is where you tell us basically your own team's open operating hours. And we ask you to tell us you can do Monday through Sunday, and you can change the date and time for any of these open schedules. It's fine. You just basically tell us when you're open and when you're not with these with this particular stage. Now that's important because follow-ups has another schedule which is not the same as operating schedule. A lot of you will think it is the same. Let me explain why it's not. TCPA laws, which is a US only thing, require that solicitation hours are between 8 and 9 p.m., but that's according to the local time zone of the party you are calling. And what that means is the law doesn't care if your company is open from 9 to 5. The person you're calling cannot be contacted before 9 or after 8 at their local time zone. So we need to know the operating schedule of your company plus what hours you want the AI agent to do follow-ups. And that's because of edge cases. Let me explain. If your company's in New York and you're open at 9 a.m. on a Friday, right? And you're calling people from a list that could be from California or Hawaii, that means that when you're calling them, it might be 9 a.m. and maybe you are operating, but when they're receiving the call in California, it's not 9 a.m., it's 6 a.m. That is against TCPA laws. So you cannot do follow-ups or unsolicited contact inside of what they call quiet hours. And so we give you the tools to tell us, I'm okay with someone scheduling an appointment at 9 a.m. because they told you to call them. And so it might be like 6 a.m. California time, but they told you to call them at that time. Follow-ups are different because it's an unsolicited second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth attempt at trying to call someone who's not answering. And you can't do that inside of quiet hours. So I'm going to give the AI agent reduced quiet hours. So I want to guarantee I never call during quiet hours. Let's say I'm in New York. Well, that would be the safest thing would be to set your times for follow-up to 12 p.m. because 12 p.m. Eastern is 9 a.m. Pacific, which means you guarantee that no Californian will ever be called too early in the morning. And then 5 p.m. Eastern is 2 p.m. California time, so that's also safe. And so these are like really safeguard rails to make sure that although you're open from 9 to 8, your follow-ups don't ever push it to the very last minute because it's just risky. We don't want you to send a text message during quiet hours. That's a guaranteed TCPA lawsuit. So we give you the tools to protect yourself with shortened follow-up hours. The next part is my favorite feature in all of Pitchit. It's the sales process feature. And so this is where you tell us how many times you want us, our AI agent, to continue trying to call someone or text them if they haven't booked a meeting, transferred in, or replied. And this is, in the United States, particularly valuable because it might take 5 attempts before they'll reply. And so you tell us first how many follow-up attempts you're comfortable with. Let's say 5. And what this means is we're going to call them once, and then if they don't answer or book a meeting or reply, we will try 5 more times. So we'll do a total of 6 attempts if you choose 5 here. Follow-up's daily limit means how long do I have to make those 5 attempts? So let's say I choose 2 here. What this means is, in addition to the first try, I will try 5 more times in the next 48 hours or 2 days, right? So they're basically going to have 3 calls one day and 2 calls the next day, and that's 6 total attempts in 48 hours. That's how this reads. And I will only do these 5 follow-up attempts if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday between noon and 5 p.m. So I will never do these follow-up attempts inside of quiet hours. So this guarantees TCPA compliance, right? Obviously, we'll opt out people if they request to stop receiving messages, multi-channel, immediate consent revocation. That's all included. You can always go to our TCPA page and read more about all of the ways that we follow TCPA laws. That's pitchit.ai / TCPA compliance, or dash compliance, I should say. And you should go there just to see that we are following all those laws. But this gives you the tools to also create rules internally that your team knows the AI agent will always follow. Next bit, so choosing a calendar if you do want meeting scheduling is very important. This is a client-facing calendar, and that's because if we do book a meeting with someone, you tell us which calendar you want us to book it on. Now, this again is a God mode feature. Any Google or Outlook calendar that any of your team members has synced company-wide will show up here, and then you can just tell us if someone books a meeting from this workflow, which calendar do you want us to book it onto? And so you just select it from the list, and that's where these calendars are going to be booked. Final bit for follow-ups. This is where you'd put like your you would put like your offer. So here's a good one. Are you still interested in signing up for internet? If so, call XXX to claim your promo of a free ring doorbell. Something like that. That's like you're basically doing a follow-up. You're asking if they're still interested, and then you're giving your offer plus a callback number all at once for the follow-up message. And this generally is really good for trying to just get them to start replying to you. And the reason I like to put a number in here is you're basically combining a workflow campaign with an inbound campaign. So the outbound workflow will drive inbound calls. And I'll do another video on how to create an inbound AI IVR, but once you create one, it dedicates a number to it, and you can just paste that number right in here, and your workflow outbound could actually drive inbound. And so you'd have like this 24/7 available AI agent that's just grinding these follow-ups within these TCPA required time limits that drive inbound calls to your call center over the next couple of days. And it's just totally automated outbound to inbound AI work. So long story short, that is how you build a workflow. You would just click Pitchit, and then it will be sitting waiting to receive leads. Now, I mentioned earlier you need to finish this by doing the integration. So once you launch it, it's just going to be marked as sending. And that just means it's listening. It's listening for leads from any other system of record you integrate with Pitchit. This is where you're going to go to your account and choose how you want to integrate. So you're going to integrate through Zapier or through a public API key. We have docs on Pitchit. So if you go to pitchit.ai / API, it's going to include how you can send us data and how we will send data back to you, and just follow those instructions. And that's how you can send leads into your workflow. But if you want to use Zapier, we do give you your Zapier API key. Go over to Zapier. I have videos on how to integrate us with Zapier. I will let you watch those videos. But you will basically tell Zapier that when something happens in another system of record, that will trigger an action which will add the lead to this workflow that's sitting, waiting, listening. So you'll want to complete the Zapier integration in order to know that the campaign we just built in this demo actually will start talking to customers, because it won't talk to customers if you just launch it but never integrate it with anything. Broadcast campaigns, on the other hand, would, because they just ask for a file and then immediately contact that file. So without further ado, that is how you build a workflow campaign with AI agents on Pitchit. Thanks for watching.